Hi, I'm Ray Cumby with Fit for Art Patterns, and I'm going to show you today how to insert the side panel sleeve unit of the Fit for Art jacket by the Tabula Rasa jacket by Fit for Art. I'm going to show you how to insert it into the front back. When you start to construct the jacket, you construct the shoulder seam, and then you build the sleeve, and I'll show you how this works, and then you insert that sleeve side unit into the front back. We think it's very simple, and we think once you learn how to do it, you're never going to want to put any other kind of sleeve in again. But in the meantime, let me show you how it works, because it's very different from the way you've constructed a sleeve in a garment before. I'm going to use this mock-up to put the sleeve side unit into the front back of the Tabula Rasa jacket. And this is a color block mock-up, so it's going to be really easy for you to see how all the pieces fit together. And this one shoulder is pinned. I haven't sewn it yet. And this one has been sewn with the regular seam so that you can see how it goes on. And there's one dart. So this is an AB front jacket, and it has one dart. Over here I have pinned the dart in, you can see, going down that way, so I can sew it going up and off the point. And that's the easiest way to sew it, especially as you're working towards deciding exactly where you want the darts to fall. So in order to put this in, we're going to actually move these fronts away. And I'm going to show you how the sleeve side unit comes together. And the first step of that is that you sew this underarm seam of the sleeve side unit. You are not sewing it here. This is actually what opens up and attaches to the side panel. And you do have to put a couple little clips in it so that you have, you know that the seam is going to relax when it is turned right side out. And so once you have sewn this, then you open this up, and here you see it open, and you attach it to the side panel. This is what creates that interesting sleeve that we have. And this is our mock-up, so our lines are going to actually be on the inside, on the outside. So we see our faint lines here. So here we are lining up that center line, and there's actually on the pattern a big dot right here because you won't have the line most of the time you're constructing. It lines up to the seam of the sleeve, and then these two come over here and line up with the and then you're going to pin this, and you're going to go to your sewing machine and stitch it down with a 5/8 inch seam. Everything has a 5/8 inch seam. And this is what you're going to end up when you are finished. You're going to end up with the sleeve side put together into the unit that we're going to insert into the front back. And so we will take this, and we're going to take the right side, which is this, of the back. We know it's the back because it has those two large double notches on it, and we're going to line it up here with the back of the jacket. So you can see here we have the jacket back. It also has the two big double notches, and I'm going to just put a couple pins in here. It's great if you can pin like this horizontally in to the pattern. Now I'm going to line up the two balance lines that are down here at the bottom. When you're first making this jacket and you make it as a mock-up, it's so great because all these balance lines line up and you know exactly how to put it together. I'm going to put one down here at the bottom, and then we're going to come up here, and this seam where the sleeve side panel comes together is going to attach right here at the balance line on the back. There is a dot there, and when you didn't have that line, you would have that dot to show you where you wanted to pull this together. And so I'm going to pin there. I have opened that seam up and pressed it open. You can press it to either side or open, whichever suits you. And now we're going to come up here and we're going to pin the double notch on the back of the sleeve. And you can see them both there, the back and the sleeve. They both have the double notch. And we're going to put a pin there also. It's really smart to put your pins here in the sleeve side unit side, because you want to be able to sew from that side to make sure everything is laying properly when you put it in. And now the last marker we have is that the grain line, and there's a dot on that grain line on the pattern, is connecting to the seam line of the shoulder of the front back, and it connects beautifully. You can see that there are a few little gathering stitches here. We do recommend you put these gathering stitches in. There's not a lot of ease, but there's enough that you'll want to have those in. And once we get the whole thing pinned in, we'll go in and arrange those gathers so that it all sits well. So our back is pinned in, ready to sew. And now we're going to bring the front over here, okay, towards me. And we're going to, now I'm going to adjust this so you can see that. Pull the front down where it has been sewn over the front of the side panel, okay? So now you see we have that side panel coming into the front and already pinned into the back. And we're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the front. We're going to match up those two lines. We have the line that is the lower balance line on this jacket, and it is the balance line on the side panel. And then we're going to line up this seam with this dart, and the lower dart lines up to the seam of the sleeve side. If you are in a CD front jacket, you'll have two darts, but you're going to line this up to the lower dart, line the dart up to the lower dart up to the seam line of the sleeve side, which you can clearly see here. And we do this, I've used this a lot, and it looks like maybe it's stretched a little. We're going to just relax it so that that seam will be nice and smooth. Okay, and then we're going to come up here and align the single notch on the sleeve, and we see it right there, with the single notch on the front, and we see it right there, and we're going to put a pin in there. Okay. All right, so now we have these areas all aligned, and I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to put one more pin right here. It looks like a big expanse of sewing that needs a little bit of a I don't really love these giant quilting pins, but they're easier to see when I'm making a video. Now, we're going to turn this around, okay, so we can ease in this sleeve head. And there you see the gathers on all the way around the sleeve, and you see the sleeve, and there's just a little bit of extra in here. So we're going to take these gathers, and you just sort of pull on the threads while you hold the fabric taut, and it'll give you a little bit of gathering in there, and then we're going to just sort of spread that out all over the whole sleeve. Okay, and I think that's going to let it sit pretty well. And it looks like it will. So we can put a pin there, and we can put a pin in there. Okay. Alrighty. And then we're going to just shift this over here. And this one has already been pulled a little bit. And we'll just pull it a tiny little bit more. Make sure we have enough gathers. Okay. Usually you have more gathers in the front than you do in the back, and that is in fact the case on this one. I'm going to put a pin here and one here. You can put several more pins than you would down those straight areas so that you have it all adjusted. Now, there you see the sleeve side coming in to the front back. That's what I want you to see. And you would now take this to the sewing machine. I'm not going to show you how to sew it. I believe that you know how to sew it already. Look, I have one more pin left that was meant to be. So you would go to the sewing machine. We'll pretend that it's here. And you would start sewing right here. And you would sew up the side seam. That's nice and straight. You don't really have any extra anywhere that you have to be worried about. Okay. Once you get up here past that side panel, which is blue, into the purple sleeve, you can see that you have all this sort of extra stuff back here where the front is and the back and the sleeve. And so you need to go pretty slowly, and you're going to stitch. Keep shifting this around so that you can actually stitch properly. And then once you get to the top where the seam is, you want to drop your needle and then completely shift this back around so you can come back down the other side through the sleeve, always sort of rearranging it as you sew, okay, and then down here to the hem. And then you have sewn it in. One long, essentially straight seam that connects the sleeve side into the front back. And once you've done one, you'll go over and you'll do the other one, and then your jacket will be put together. It's like magic. I hope it works magically for you as you start learning to make these wonderful Tabula Rasa jackets. So here we have that finished mock-up of the Tabula Rasa jacket, and you can see that I have put it on its owner, and you would put yours on once you get those sleeve side units put in, and then you can assess these balance lines and make sure they are parallel and perpendicular to the floor to determine if you need to make any fitting adjustments to the jacket so it fits you with a personal touch. Good luck, and I wish you all the best. If you're stuck with your fitting or with your construction, you can sign up for a virtual consultation, and I'll be glad to help you at a time that's convenient for both of us.